So, the Los Angeles Lakers is a topic that I definitely have stayed away from as a video topic because simply I don't think there's anything I would say that hasn't already been said by other YouTubers probably bigger than me already. So, even though it's probably easy views, I really didn't want to talk about them too much. But this past trade deadline, Rob Pelinka made some moves that were just honestly masterful, setting the Lakers up not only for some massive flexibility in free agency and next year trade deadline, but also give the Lakers not only a shot to actually do something in this year's playoffs, being only about 3 games out of the play-in, and I think maybe 4 games out of the 6th seed. With 25 or so games left in the season, the Lakers have more than ample time to string some wins together, and with this current roster makeup, it's basically a copy and paste of what's gotten LeBron to the point he's been in his career, and that is just him surrounded by defenders and shooters and having another star on this team, things that are already all checked off now. A lot of these players aren't to the caliber of what he's had in the past, and I would say the competition is a little bit more stiff considering Kevin Durant is now in the Western Conference, Kyrie Irving is now in the Western Conference, and the Denver Nuggets are still as good as they are. But overall, I do think the Lakers just maximized their championship hopes as much as they could with the limited resources they have. So let's talk about what they did this free agency and how it's actually probably look like it's going to blossom into a pretty nice future for them going on now. First things first, we're talking about how they maximized this season. Well, simply put it, they got shooters. What they've needed so far this season, they dumped Russell Westbrook, who, even though he's been playing as a six-man of the year candidate and his numbers aren't as bad or as glaring as they were last season, he wasn't really that good for this team, even in the limited role. Instead of a net negative, he was basically a net zero. He still led all bench players in turnovers. And on a team that needs a lot of shooting, he was just another guy that was clogging the paint and forcing LeBron to take a career high in 3-point attempts this season just to supplement for the fact that the rim is going to be clogged with him, Anthony Davis, and Russ there. Now you flip Russ to D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, two guys that can shoot 40% from 3 on a good season, especially with a playmaker like LeBron, and you now have 2 weapons LeBron can hit. Now, I don't think starting Dennis Schroeder along with deloading and LeBron is the best option. I do think Austin Reeves or Lonnie Walker, guys that have proven they can catch and shoot, has been doing it pretty well this season so far, is the best to put in that starting lineup to at least maximize the talent that's there, and Dennis Schroeder can lead the bench as that ball handler coming on, and he can be the facilitator while having an open lane to the rim, as the Lakers have even more shooters on the roster too, especially with a backup big like Mo Bamba. I think that would be the best way to go for Darvin Ham, but hey, he can do what he wants. Not to mention the fact that this Lakers defense with Thomas Bryant was in is, I'm not gonna lie, he was letting guys shoot 70% at the rim, bro. Like, I get it, the offensive punch he gave was there, but losing him this trade deadline really, I don't think is the big negative that people saw it was. Yes, he was great offensively, but you have now a center in Mo Bamba where the idea of him is probably a little better than you see when you see him play. There's some questions there about his motor, but I think this is the best place for him to really, reinvent himself and his own game, especially now that he's on a roster with true proven superstars that he can learn from. I do think putting him in a pick and roll where he can pick and pop with LeBron, opening the paint up for AD, is the best possible scenario for him right now, and I do think he can still shoot at a pretty high clip. I think he's shooting close to 40% this season on about 2 attempts. I do expect not only those attempts to go up, but the percentage to go a little bit down, but I don't see him shooting any less than 36%, which is still a big positive if he can also provide some of the shot blocking. Pick and roll defense may not be what it is. He's probably not the greatest switcher, but it's more of a defensive presence than you had before. And then you have Jared Vanderbilt, who's just an injection of energy everywhere. And he's been taking some corner threes this season. I don't think, it's something you want to rely on, but, it's there. But again, just heart and hustle, going after every single loose ball. He's a pretty good passer also. And he's very, very good as a wing defender, and I think he'll be guarding most of the better wings in the NBA, while LeBron is probably stuck off on the other guys, so he can play a free safety a little bit, which is great. I do think he needs to be starting. I think a starting lineup of D'Lo, either Austin Reeves or Lonnie Walker, LeBron, Vanderbilt, and AD, and then you have Rui Hachimura, Dennis Schroeder, Mo Bamba. Those guys come off the bench. I think that's the perfect way to really run this team, and but this is the best possible outcome for the Lakers. They give them a lot of flexibility in free agency. Let's talk about how this may affect their future. While the Lakers may not want to give deloading his money this offseason if Kyrie Irving does become available, that is not nearly a problem because not only do they have their mid-level exception, they now have a couple young guys on this roster that you can at least hope to take a leap going to next year to up their productivity. And you still have Malik, Beasley, and Bamba on contracts that are pretty friendly, especially since Malik is in the last year of his contract next year. There's some pretty nice trade assets, about $26 million all together. Not to mention their pick swap with New Orleans. With how New Orleans have slid this season, they probably would rather keep their pick than trade with the Lakers, knowing that how the second half of the season may go and how much time Zion may miss. So honestly, the scenarios this season and what Rob Pelinka has done in this free agency has put the Lakers in a perfect situation for them to make a big splash next year. I do think with the amount of linking between Kyrie and LeBron, unless things go incredibly right, and there's absolutely no reason why he should leave Dallas at all, which I don't think is going to be the case. I do think the Lakers have a very big chance of signing him. Now you add a point guard like him, plus some of the young guys that are under contract next season, not to mention the mid-level exception, the trade pieces that you have. You can definitely find ways to not make this team even better next year and make them even more competitive. So even if this year may not be the full championship run, even though I think they do have the talent to at least make a little bit of noise, and if things go their way, they can find their way in the NBA Finals. I think next season is the primary time for them to really go after winning a championship, especially after all of these moves. But it's a real great way to reset your franchise. It's also great to be the Lakers. These situations kind of just happen when you're this big of a team, but there's no use in complaining about it. Great move. Honestly, they were sunken dead in the water. They shouldn't have been able to weasel their way out of this one, but they found a way. And I think this is the best, most favorable position for everybody in this party. Russell Westbrook, honestly, it was way too toxic for him there. I understand the fit was horrible and he was not playing his best, but the relationship with the franchise and him, the city and him, just wasn't there anymore. I think it's just best that those two did separate as quickly as possible. Now, if he goes to the Clippers, that relationship may sour, especially with Lakers fans, but you know, y'all ain't want him. We found a place that probably appreciates him and is better fit for his skill set, so who knows. But yeah, great job on Rob Pelinka. Your legacy was on the line. You put up a game 6 type of Bron game in this trade deadline, so good shit. With that being said, this FLB, that's my time, and I'm out.